Ludus, Vulpes.
Welcome to Ludus Vulpes. My name's Kirsty.
I'm Phil, and we're with
Richard from UK Games Expo.
Hello.
Hi Richard, how are
Hello.
you?
Not too bad. Yes, I'm
Good,
doing
good.
fine.
Busy Airecon here.
Yes, it's we're getting busy today, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's a Saturday, so
yeah.
I think the snow yesterday slowed things down. People are getting here.
It was definitely entertaining.
But today it's all gone, isn't it? And the
Numbers seem back up to normal levels.
Yeah, pretty good, really. Yeah. So yes, been busy so far.
So not long now. Not long
now. No,
three months.
Yes,
Give or take.
Now from now on, it just hurtles forward.
Yeah.
Each week seems to end a bit too quickly, but
I'm sure you're on top of everything, and it's ready. You could deliver the expo tomorrow if you wanted to.
well, maybe not quite tomorrow, but we're getting there. Yes.
That's good.
So let's talk about last year first,
Yes.
if that's okay. So it was the first full expo back after COVID, I think.
Yes, and we had the event in 21, which was
Yes.
2 weeks after the lockdown finished.
Yeah.
That was very anxious times, really, and of course we were masks and COVID passports and limited numbers and wider aisles and everything. So we were just relieved to have run in any capacity that year.
Yeah.
Last year felt much more like a return to normal,
Very much so.
Yeah.
and it was about 90%, 95% maybe of the biggest show before then.
Yeah.
But I think that was good to get back to that, and also the return of international
Yes.
companies and visitors and things, which of course we haven't had since 2019.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
so no, that was a relief that things seem to be rebounding and things.
Yeah.
I think people were just glad to be able to get back to events. And the previous summer, I think there were those that were saying, "Oh, I'm going to go to stuff. If it runs, we'll go." But there was still quite a lot of hesitation, understandably, with a certain amount of people, because people, particularly if you're slightly not so well or a bit more fragile, you would think, am I happy yet to be going out? And by last summer, I think most of that had gone, really. And by now, I think everything seems to be returning to normal.
Back to some kind of normality. The Harrogate board game stand, normality, not exactly something that quite exists.
We'll shut there in a panda suit. And, and there's the chef chap.
Space chef.
Space chef. Yeah. So there we are.
So what can we look forward to this year from Expo?
Well, we'll be lots of things. So first of all, I think it's going to be the largest in terms of exhibitors that we've had.
Okay.
We had our largest number prior to this was last summer. So the 22 show in terms of exhibitors, I think it was roughly about 460 exhibitors, as opposed to 425 in 2019.
Yeah.
What we're interesting to see is what that does to the international visitors, because in 2019 we had a quarter of the exhibitors were from outside the UK.
Wow.
From 42 countries and all this sort of stuff. So it was whereas that hadn't returned. Although I said there was a return last year, it was a sort of partial return, and I think we're seeing an awful lot more of that this year.
So more international exhibitors.
More international, particularly from the Far East, where COVID restrictions last summer still meant that they were in quarantine a lot of the time, or if they went back there, they'd go in quarantine. So you didn't get many of the companies from Korea, Hong Kong, China, that sort of thing, and less from other bits of the world, just because last summer there was an awful lot of shipping problems for companies.
Yes, unfortunately,
So a lot of them just we just don't have stock, or we can't get the stock for the UK. But this time, I think although there's still some issues, it's not by any means as bad as then. So we're going to see. I think we're going to have 500 plus exhibitors at the show.
Wow.
Pretty much all of Hall 1 and Hall 2 will be trade stands.
Wow.
And the things like the family zone.
Nice.
Okay.
So a big play test area and
Nice.
things.
Yeah.
All that activities going on. The Hall 3, which last year we only used half of for tournaments and open gaming, we're using all of that this year.
Okay, so full
So more open gaming, and a lot more tournaments and events.
Okay.
In 21 we only very few tournaments. 22 started to see a return, but still not as many as we'd like to get. Now we're seeing a lot of those bigger tournaments coming back, a lot of the bigger events. You know,
it was interesting because last year there were tournaments there. I used to take part in X-Wing tournaments, and the UKG hosted the largest in pretty much the world for a period of time. But the X-Wing, like the tournament, seems smaller, more compact.
Yeah, I think that's one of the systems of games that seems to be not as big as it was. You know. I'm not sure exactly why. I think sometimes the game systems come and go in popularity. But we're seeing some very big tournaments from other systems. In Bandai have a lot of those sort of card games like Digimon and Dragon Ball and things like that. They were big events last year, and they're going to be bigger again this year. There's new systems coming out like Soul Forge, which is I think it's basically just been released or launched this year, and we're going to have some of that going on. There'll be still a lot of that atomic games, which are the fighting FFG style games, things like Armada and Legion and X-Wing.
Miniature orientated FFG games that Atomic have taken over.
Yeah, there's certainly going to be those. The board games, we have a very MSO, Mind Sports Olympiad. They run the board game tournaments for us, and they run a whole schedule of different ones, including the couple of biggies in terms of championships like the Catan UK Championship, which is a qualifier for the world, which is somewhere nice in the world. People go. I think the last one was in Malta, and so every 2 years they go somewhere for a world. I think they also to America and Europe, and the qualifier also gets to go to the European final, wherever that is. Catan, the Carcassonne Championship, so that's run at Essen, World One, so we're a qualifier for that. And there'll be other events like that. Rummy Club have a UK championship. Quite popular actually. It's we put it on. And so a lot of new, a lot of tournaments of all sorts. So the good thing about those is you don't. There's the serious end players who are, but equally there's things like Seven Wonders or Ticket to Ride. You don't necessarily need to be an ultra gamer or something. You can just enjoy having a tournament.
Like the Crokinole. Was it Crokinole?
Crokinole
here that we did last year, and we took place in part of the tournament, didn't we? And I'd never played it before.
Didn't do much in the tournament. For those people who haven't played in the tournament, the tournament atmosphere is actually quite friendly. It sounds like it's going to be vicious and competitive, but actually everyone's really friendly.
I mean, you will have in the tournament, particularly Carcassonne and Catan, all of them will have what you might call the more serious players. And they're there to win or to come high in the rankings. But that doesn't mean they're necessarily going to be aggressive or anything like that. They're often very welcoming and things. And for a lot of people, though, it's just that opportunity to play 2 or 3 rounds of Ticket to Ride or Catan or something and see how well you can do across the tournament. So that's worthwhile. Some of them are quite short. They might only last 3 hours or something. But a chance to therefore pick up and play something. We've got quite a lot of mega games this year. So these are large-scale games where there might be as many as 40 people playing a game. So they're based on things like often your United Nations or your government or something like that. So I think there's usually something set. I think post-apocalyptic stuff. There's another one which is in Viking times.
Nice.
So these are the good thing about those games is it's one of those opportunities you don't get a chance to do that in say at a club or at home. You get together 4 or 5 players, you're doing well. Whereas you don't get a chance to play in a game. I mean, I did one when I was over at Gen Con, there were 60 people playing something. It was actually a Wings of War, so it was more of it wasn't exactly a mega game in the sense that it was only those are slightly different games where you're doing politics, you're doing things like that. But nevertheless, playing a game which there are 60 people playing the same game.
That's quite interesting.
And there's all sorts of dynamics going on between all that. Lots of live entertainment. So we've got some of the old favourites. We bring them back because they'll sell tickets and people want to see them.
Are we starting to call it the UK Games Expo Fringe now?
Well, it is a little bit like that. So, some of these I've certainly recruited when up at the Fringe. You've seen them up in Edinburgh. Which if people have never been to, it's definitely worth a visit. The Fringe is an experience in itself, really. We tend to try and get up there for 2 or 3 days every year, but loosely described as a work holiday. You know, work workshop.
Obviously.
Well, I must go recruit some more shows.
Recruiting.
But you know, the dark room is very popular. It's a crazy Australian chap, and Jolly Boat with their pirate songs. I think they're here at Airecon today. And Nightmare Live, Werewolf Live, these sorts of games. We've got a couple of new ones. You know, there's the Notflix, which is an all-female improvised musical comedy. So they basically do a musical comedy in an hour, you know, from audience suggestions.
Sounds exhausting.
But they've only got to do it because they do it in French every night. So you've got to be very fast at coming up with ideas, and you can see them with the way they're quickly getting ideas, quickly. You know, very few quick whispers, and you know, and they're off with some idea. And,
Which is impressive. Always impressive.
Very much so.
So that's worth seeing, and then we've got one or two interesting special guests this year. Luke Gygax, who's the son of Gary Gygax, the inventor of Dungeons and Dragons, is over, and that was a chance meeting at Gen Con, and the chap sitting next to me, get chatting. So, I mean, you're the Gary Gygax. You mean your dad invented Dungeons and Dragons? Or, okay, I suppose you want to come to the UK, do you? Anytime soon.
That's interesting.
Yes. But I mean, imagine growing up playing Dungeons and Dragons at the table it was invented at, you know, it's pretty cool. So he's coming over to run some games, D&D, and he's going to do a seminar on growing up in the Gygax household. He runs Airecon, which is a convention it actually set in the same. It's in the area, but some of the games actually happen in the family house. So you can play at that table. You can apparently the tickets go like that. So we're going to be having about 4 games he'll be running. We're not going to do those as tickets you buy. That's going to be a competition online or something. So I just want to give everyone a chance to
an opportunity to play.
And so that's good. And Ian Livingstone's back, first time since 2019. So, you know, again, he's great, and founder of Fighting Fantasy, founder of Games Workshop.
He's done a few bits.
Sir Ian, as we should call him nowadays. We've got Knighted, of course, a year or two ago. These are good things. These are good chances for people to meet some of these. And a lot of the designers and things are just there, and you're lucky you get to.
Certainly Ian Livingstone. He sits behind his table most of the day and meets and greets, shakes hands,
he does.
tells stories.
He's great. You'll sign if you've got the first editions of, early editions of Fighting Fantasy, take them along, get them signed. And I think he's got a new book out called Dice Man or something, which is about the history of those early years of Fighting Fantasy and Games Workshop and everything. Well worth picking up. I've seen that. I saw one of those ones that you start reading and realise an hour and a half has gone by as you've sort of seen all these early stories of how
he's got interesting stories.
Again, lots of role playing, and lots of other events and things. So we'll seminars and workshops we're starting on now. So some of those are designed for people, the podcast sort of fans and things. So we've got groups like what's it called? No Rolls Bard and Roll Britannia, Sit Up and Sit Down. They're there. Some of those will be doing live recordings of podcasts and things. And then there's the whole publisher designer thread. So if you're a designer and you've got a game design, and then you can get it play tested in the playtest area. Just need to apply for a table. It doesn't cost anything apart from a ticket to get in the door. The speed dating, which does require you to apply and get accepted. There's always disappointed people there because we can only get about 16 people into the pitching session out of like 100 plus designs. Boot camp, which is designed to help that pitching process. Alex Jaeger is a big giant in the industry, worked with Steve Jackson Games, Mayfair Games, Amigo Spiel now. He does his boot camp, so he's going to polish that pitch technique.
Get first-time designers off the ground and get a pitch right.
That's right. And then James Wallace, who's again he's a designer, but also knows an awful lot about those processes of game design. So he's doing what's called a masterclass, which is so you get to essentially make a game in 3 hours. So you start to think up with an idea for a game, design it, and you can take the game components away. But it's again designed to just get you thinking about game design and stuff. Who else we got? I mean, there's also the artists and things. So Ralph Horsley, who does our dragon and usually the colour program. He's here at Airecon. He's going to be doing we haven't quite given it the title yet. We're thinking of calling it the UKGE Dragon Off. So what they're going to do is they're going to be doing a dragon design with Andre Schneider, who's an artist I use for my Medusa Games and they're both going to be doing it on the main stage, I think, where they'll come up with ideas for dragons and doing sketches. And they'll over an hour or hour and a half or so they'll come up with sketches and give ideas for how do you come up with an early game idea for a bit of art and develop it from there.
That's really good.
So just an awful lot to do basically. And then you've got the Vikings and the Romans, the ancient Britons, the Romans.
We had US paratroopers last year as well.
Yeah, well they sort of I don't think they quite arrived in the end. Typical Americans, wasn't it?
They were probably a week late.
They were late. But we do have, I think we're getting some 1 or 2 stuff this year, RAF sort of type, and also the Romans, the Britons, gladiators, and the Vikings, all of that. Wow. So an awful lot for the family to do, of course.
I also dread to think how much the health and safety people have gone crazy, because I believe Games Workshop are bringing laser tag to the whole.
Laser tag, yes, that's yes, and so of course, what they wanted to do is they wanted us to use a room where we can use smoke, which is great. And then you've got the smoke detectors, and those things are water vapoury type stuff. But nevertheless, you've still got to trigger off the setup. So that means you can't have the fire alarms on in those rooms, which requires more health and safety, more security and things. So they're basically having to pay for like a security guard just to sit in the room saying, "There's no fire here. There's still no fire here," and do that all weekend, basically. Yes, it's got to be done. And in case the waft of stuff gets outside, there's going to be somebody else standing outside in case it sets it up in the piazza. But I saw that at Gen Con. They snuck me in right at the end of it, and you've got these guys dressed as kind of Imperial, the Marines, and then there's the other lot as orcs. And it's cleverly done with the weaponry and things, because the orcs have these sort of laborious things with lots of ammunition hanging off it. So all you can really do is go around like a whereas the humans have got these nice elegant rifle type things, so they can sort of take aim. And it rather was affecting the strategy. So the humans were sort of hunkering down, sort of doing it, whereas the orcs were just rushing which was interesting. And so it's a laser tag style thing where it's based around capture the flag sort of type stuff. So you have to shoot a sensor. There's 3 of them in the room, and have got to hold that position, I think, for 5 minutes to score that location. And then and if you manage to score 2 locations out of 3 or hold them, then you win the game. Otherwise, I think it's the amount of time locations have been held in that in that time. That sounds quite fun. I think that looks pretty good. So I think the idea now is it's sort of that, getting back to that type of show that we hoped we could have done in 2020.
More exhibitors, more events, more live events.
And lots of entertainment, lots of board games.
Lots to learn.
It's
and also lots for families to do as well, with the treasure hunts and things they can do where they go around and some of them end up with parlour games at the end of the day. So there's plenty of activities pretty much for every age group. So
that's ideal.
Fantastic games library as well, if people want to check out.
That's been increased this year because we've got a new sort of partner, called Rent Shuffle and Roll, that's based up in Scotland, but they do a lending library system. So you subscribe to them. What they do is they'll send you out games every month on a lend process. So you can select, I'll have these 3 this month, that 3 that month. So that's the sort of model they're working on, and they'll be bringing their library. I think they'll be at the Hilton side, and our library will be on the NEC side. But that just means more games to borrow and try and things. So
awards will be there again this year.
With the awards, So we'll know the results. We'll know the judges' results in advance this year. So we're slightly changing it in the sense that the judges, we know who's won the judges and the results 3 weeks out anyway. We get the trophies made. So for some of the company's point of view, it's also quite good for them to be able to say, hey, we won an award or we were shortlisted before the show. And that's good for people who want to go and check those things out. So I think we'll know the results of those before, but the public will still be voting on the weekend for that People's Choice one. So we'll see how that goes this year.
That's brilliant.
It sounds like it's going to be an exciting show. It sounds like it's going to be bigger, better than before.
Yes, well, hopefully. I mean, from an exhibitor point of view, we brought in a whole extra day of setup because it's just it's just taking. The sort of scale of the thing, it just takes a lot to do.
Do you ever wish you could go back to the old days when it was just small and
well, in those old days, I was a GP, of course, until 6 years ago, and in those old days, we'd do the show, and then we'd sort of, around Christmas time, sort of, are we going to do it again next year, or maybe? Nowadays, we're already sort of planning the following year, often before we've done the 1 year. We're already starting the process.
You'll be signing the exhibitors up at the expo for the following year.
Well, quite often they do expressions of interest. Particularly over the summer, and certainly by Essen.
Essen's the big show for you guys in attracting exhibitors.
It is, yeah. So we have anyone that's been there might have seen we have a stand at Essen where we take the expo tea up.
Kirsty, well, you'll find Kirsty there as well at least twice. So
get a cup of tea.
English tea, Yorkshire tea.
And this just came out of us being one year we went there and we had a very small stand. I think it was 10 square metres, 2 by 5, and we 2 by 2 of it was the little reception area, and then we walled in the other bit. So we were sat in with a table, all crammed in, with the people coming in at the meetings, but we did manage to get a kettle in and stuff. And rumour got round that there was Yorkshire tea in Germany. And the Brits were round the corner by the end of the first day. So there's something on here, So nowadays we send out little invites to all the exhibitors, little things with some biscuits and tea bags in and sugar, and they can come. Now you need the hot water just come to the stand with their little appointment cards for their appointments to see us.
Nice.
But also it has become a sort of thing that everyone knows.
It's a tradition.
It's a tradition. And it's nice to do that and things. But that'll be later this autumn. We'll go through this show first.
So the first thing we've got to look forward to is going to be the UK Games Expo. So if you haven't got your tickets, I think tickets are on sale now.
They are. So they're 18 for a day ticket, up to 46 for free, something like that for a 3-day ticket, and there are family tickets, and anyone under 11 is free. Course,
so is it the UK Games Expo website is the best place to buy it?
ukgamesexpo.co.uk.
I'd also highly recommend following the UK Games Expo Facebook page because there's promotions going on there and things to see.
Competitions,
there'll be lots of competitions particularly to earn things like seats in that Gary Gygax table and similar things like that, really. We do giveaways every so often and stuff.
And you might have a chance of winning some interesting games as part of those giveaways. So get on the Facebook page, follow it, and you'll have plenty of opportunities. So it's fantastic.
Thank you so much for your time today, Richard.
Okay,
really appreciate it. And I hope you enjoy the rest of Airecon.
Thank you.
Bye.